Well, hello and welcome to the Brand Breakthrough Show. I'm very excited, very excited that we have a super special guest on today for today's show. And today we're going to be focusing on how to build a global movement. I am coming to you live from Florida, and it's been quite a tour. We've been all over the place in January. I don't know if January's been like that for you and you feel like you're already halfway through the year because you've done so much already in the last few weeks. I certainly feel that way. But today is a day of healing. And this is the thing. It's like as you're busy, as you're growing, as you are building your movement, whether that movement is in your corner of the earth or globally, and you're building a global brand and business, then this is the opportunity for you to heal yourself at the same time as healing all those other amazing souls that are getting access to what you do. So hello, I can see Kazia is on, and Greg, awesome, lovely to see you. Please do go ahead and tag in some of the people that you know should be on this call. So tag in some brand builders. Yes, we've got this amazing fish scene going on behind me. We're literally a hop, skip and a jump to the beach from where we are in this amazing condo. And actually this condo belongs to two of our Brand Builders Club members, Barbara and Diane. So thank you so much for enabling us to have this incredible healing journey. And I'm here with Leisha and Peter Berry, who are just awesome friends of mine, Brand Builders Club members who are traveling the world, doing their book tour and achieving the most amazing things. So I'm very happy and honoured that I'm being filled with so much love while I'm here. I feel awesome. And as you're building a global movement, you need to feel awesome too, because how can you be awesome for other people if you can't be awesome for yourself first? So very important message there for you. And if you haven't been taking as much time to look after yourself lately whilst taking care of others, then just let Mama be. Mama Blindell is giving you a poke. I've got plenty of people that are poking me constantly and making sure I look after myself. So make sure you look after yourself too in the process. So Terry, hello. Oh, it was so awesome to see you at Tasha Chen's event at the weekend. For those of you that don't know Terrier yet, make sure you say hello, connect with Terrier. She is amazing and is looking at shifting some of the directions that she's taking her business in as well. So it'd be awesome to find out more about what you're doing now, Terrier, because we didn't quite get enough time to spend with each other at the weekend. It's one of those things, isn't it? You think you got all the time in the world and you know we're gonna see each other, and before you know it the whole thing is done. And it's finished. So yeah, let's make sure that we support each other as you grow on your journey, and that we support you too. So I'm going to bring Kezia on. Greg, could you tag some of our Brand Builders Club members in, please, and just make sure that they are also seeing this. And I'm going to bring Kezia on here. So let's add you here, Kez. This amazing lady that we're talking to today is not only a soul sister, an amazing friend of mine. We've known each other for about 2 years now. In fact, we met during one of the first challenges that I ever ran. Hi, Kes.
Always helps if I'm right my way around.
And it was around the table in what I call the Cottage of Creation in France, the holiday cottage that I was staying in when I birthed the idea for how to build a brand, when everything started to become clear about the legacy I was creating, the impact I'm making, and you know the influence that I wanted to be able to have in ensuring that business owners didn't take the long route, when they didn't have to go the whole journey that I was taking. Hi, Robert. And it was around that table. I ran a retreat and Kezia was around that table, and the idea for Women of Contribution that she'd had as a little seedling, and we're going to find out a bit more about that shortly. But we turned that seedling into a thriving global movement that you may indeed have already been touched by. Hi, Mary Francis. So, Kezia, hello.
Lovely to see you.
I'm so excited. And you're coming live from Barcelona.
I am. Not as warm as it is in Florida by the looks of things. It's pretty chilly here at the moment.
Yeah, well, because when you came up with this idea for the movement and we brainstormed it around the table and looked at how we could really get every life touched that needed this movement to be a part of their path, we were in the process of thinking about moving to Barcelona, and then you moved to Barcelona and you did that at the same time as a book launch and on top of everything else that you were doing. So boom.
Boom,
Just
indeed.
goes to prove that when you're on a mission, you just go for it, don't you? Everything happens because we have to have a life as well as the business, right?
Yes, that is the master plan anyway.
It is. So just share of, and by the way, as we're talking, hi Jose, we've got lots of people coming on now. It's lovely to see you. Um, if you have questions for Kezia about her path, her journey, you know, creating this book collaboration now on number 2, launching in March, lots and lots of traction, thousands and thousands of lives touched. We were working out some of the numbers last week, I think it was, as to how many lives have been touched as a result of the first book already. Hi, Madeline. And it's quite significant. What you can achieve in a year when you set your intention to build that global movement is truly, truly fascinating. It's about a year and a half now. So, Kezia, start off telling us about your journey. What happened? Where were you when you had this seedling of an idea, this download about what you were really meant to do?
It was more like a smack in the face with a 2x4, to be honest, rather than a little seedling. It was Boxing Day 2016. I can honestly say I maybe had one drink too many on Christmas Day and woke up really early on Boxing Day feeling extremely foggy headed and needing to get out. So I got up early, pouring with rain because I was still living in the UK at the time. Within 5 minutes of walking, literally pictures and voices and questions were coming in thick and fast, and went home, sat in front of the computer, started typing away. And when I read back what I'd written, it was all about the Women of Contribution movement, which really believes that every single woman on this planet can leave an impactful footprint. And also the Pay It Forward series, Notes to My Younger Self book. And the book was really about the fact that most women that I was speaking to at the time just said, well, you know, I haven't really got anything to offer. And I was just going, even something as simple as your story can change people's lives. You don't realize how much it could change. And then synchronistically, you know, you came into my life, although I believe we were probably Facebook friends for a while, and the How to Build a Brand Challenge. And from there, it just kind of, everything started to build momentum. I had a business before, and I knew that creating this baby, things needed to be done differently. And I knew the importance of getting the basics right. And that's what you teach so beautifully well, is that the basics. You know, everybody thinks branding is all about the logo and the website, and yes, that's really exciting stuff, but the reality is that, you know, as you say all the time, it is the last thing. So spending time with you, and then winning the brand builder, you know, the How to Build a Brand Challenge, I think that and Master Your Message literally cemented all the ideas, because literally I came to France with a workbook of, you know, mind maps of everything that I was, you know, had downloaded. And then all of us together, which is what Women of Contribution's about, the collaboration, we started to put those pieces together. And that's truly the magic, I think, of you know, being in a group like this.
Yeah, and you weren't new to business, were you? You had a business before.
No, I had run a female concierge business before, grown quite a successful business, had 35 women working for me in 4 different counties, but burnt out royally is probably the easiest way to say it. You know, we were helping corporate professionals juggle the work-life balance. And I just became one of those statistics, really, where 80-hour work weeks and, you know, no time for family, no time for me.
Yeah, and so really, you know, this is the thing. So you'd already built a business.
Yeah.
You'd been in corporate for a long time. You'd had a job before that. So you built a business up that was almost killing you, and you're probably working more hours for less pay
Yes.
than when you had a job,
Yes.
which we call JOB, just over broke.
Yeah.
And so now you've got your business and you're doing a fabulous job. Word of mouth is increasing because you're so good at what you do, but your heart is hurting and the universe is burning you out just to realize, hang on,
Yeah.
knock, knock, knock. You're not on purpose. Knock, knock, knock. You're not on purpose. Knock, knock, knock. Boom. We're going to crash you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't crash, you are not here to do the mission and the movement that you've been put on this earth to do. And so it's like with me when I was talking about that the other day, you know, boom, knock, knock, knock. Here's a twinge in your chest. Knock, knock, knock. Ouch, that hurts a bit more than usual. What's going on? Knock, knock, knock. We're going to bring you down and we're going to give you a freaking heart attack unless you stop. You are not on purpose. So you had the knock, knock, knock several times.
I did.
And finally you got the message and started to get on your purpose, on your mission. And since then it's been quite a journey, hasn't it? What were some of the first steps within the first couple of weeks of you starting that business?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, the first year, 2017, was a whirlwind. So I met you, if I remember rightly, in April. And at the time you were midway through a challenge and I jumped on and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is everything that I needed in my first business, but didn't even know that it was out there. You know, when you start a business, you kind of go out blind and it's that unconscious incompetency. You don't know what you don't know. And so joined in and I was just like, wow. And then when you were running the next one, I think, no, actually, before that even happened, I think I'd had an audit with you and kind of gone through some stuff.
Yeah,
and it
we
was
did a brand audit.
It was there you talked about master your message, and I was like, I have to go on that. That is definitely, I need to make sure that when I'm speaking about women of contribution and the pay it forward, it touches the hearts and minds of absolutely every person that I speak to, regardless of whether they're men or women. And then the next Brand Builders Challenge came out. Or how to build a brand challenge came out, and I just played full out and won it, which was brilliant. And spending two sessions with you, not only master your message, which was great because we had the collective mind, but then cementing that with you and I working together. I mean, and then like miracles started happening, I got invited to be part of the Awakening Giants documentary series, which you were part of. Marie Diamond.
Because I was like, you have to have this amazing movement maker on your documentary because you needed to be a part of that, Kezia. That was, I did. You even though you hadn't really started it yet. so on the first morning, so Kezia and I get out. In fact, we flew separately, didn't we? We did. We joined the day before, right? So I fly out to San Diego. Kezia joins us the next day, and the first morning that we're all meeting with the film crew and everything, Kezia walks downstairs. We meet up and we go for breakfast. And Debbie Moore was one of the first women that we met, who is now one of our brand builders, one of our founding brand builders. So Debbie Morris stood there and we introduce ourselves, and I stand back because she says to Kezia, what do you do? And I stand back because I'm like, this has been birthed and I'm going to stand back and watch in all of its glory, the message and the vision and the mission and the pitch and everything. It's all going to flow out. And Kezia spoke just so articulately, and you were right in focusing on what is the vision of this, what is the mission, what is the story, the pitch, what am I selling, what's behind it. So that first 7-step Kickstarter piece was effectively what we did in France, that now every single Brand Builders Club member goes through that before they even start on their journey. And it was the right thing to do, because what happened when you shared that, Kezia? What did Debbie do?
Thing is, when you're talking from the heart and when you are able to articulate, so it comes off your tongue, it rolls off your tongue, and you're not having to think about it because you've spent time thinking about it before, and you've collated the right words to say that will touch people and actually transfer what it is that you're really trying to do. And I opened my mouth and I said what I needed to say, and the physiological response from Debbie was the eyes started to well up with tears. She started to get goosebumps. And she was just like, I have to be a part of this. And that's when I know that people are the right people for the Pay It Forward book. And this is what we were talking about at the time, because her whole body, you could tell that it touched her, not from just up a mental point here, but in here as well. You know, she knew that she had to be a part of it come, you know, hell or high water, because it's a mission that, though is not necessarily her main mission, it's directly linked to everything that Debbie and you and all of the other book authors are trying to do. They're trying to contribute to the world and really make a difference in their own ways. And so, yeah, it was amazing to see. And every time we spoke to somebody about it during that time in San Diego, because we'd spent the time just making sure that every word was said with such heart, that it just hit people here. And that's what you want when you're talking about something, especially something like this, which is all about, you know, impacting on 1 billion lives worldwide. So
yeah. And so, you know, and there's a lot of movement makers watching this right now. Hi, Cindy, Madeline, Paul. I can see lots of people joining in. And with the movement in mind, so what were some of the things that, because I could talk about it forever, because I'm so in love with your business and what you're doing. And as a member of the board, like, I'm championing this all the time. I just love what you're doing. But I think it's better coming from you. So just talk to us about that mission. Talk through the mission first, as to why are you so driven by this mission? What is it about this mission that moves you so much?
I think it's many different reasons, and I'll get to that kind of one-liner in a minute. But you know, the business that I did before was not in vain. It taught me a huge amount. I knew that I wanted to work with women. I've always worked with women in one way or another, you know, as a sounding board from, you know, being a really young little girl. Everything kind of led me to that point. So having the business that I did, I was very fortunate to go into a wide variety of different women's lives and actually see their lives firsthand because of the types of services that we were offering. And I was seeing time and time again that even these women that had all the markers of success, you know, absolutely everything, they were missing a bit, and they didn't know how to fill that bit. And that bit is really finding your purpose. And you get to a stage in life where you just go, enough's enough, you know, I don't want to do the same thing day in, day out. And for me, it was just making sure that absolutely every woman out there, regardless of whether she was a mum, a grandma, you know, worked in a library, CEO of a corporate business, or an entrepreneur, knew without a shadow of a doubt that just by being them, they could leave an impactful footprint on the world. And actually, when we start to listen to that true inner whisper, and we find ourselves surrounded by those people that, you know, we can collaborate. Everything that I've done is a collaboration. I cannot express to you how important it is to reach out to the right people and to be surrounded in a community that gets what you're doing. And this is the joy of How to Build a Brand and the Brand Builders Club for that. You know, it's surrounding yourself with people that just get it. You're not having to explain, they just get it. And actually they're there to help you and champion you along the way.
And when you create that movement, that it's more essential than ever that you have the right people as part of that movement. And we got very focused on who that perfect person was, didn't we? Because I mean, we could say every woman, every man, you know. And it was interesting when the book came out, even though it was women writing it, so many men were writing in with their stories of how they were transformed having read those stories. So talk about the book, a little bit about the book, because that was one of your ways of coming up with a movement. You know, when you collaborate, you know, we don't have to do it on our own. Actually, by creating that book and making it about being a collective rather than oneself on their own, that gave other people the permission to also think, okay, actually, if I start working collaboratively instead of on my own, I can make a lot more difference. So tell us about the idea for the book.
Well, the book, at the time of the idea coming in, I had just started a master's in positive psychology in the September, and obviously it was the following December, when the idea came in, and the book was really about, you know, when we step back and when we think of our past, there are those pivotal moments that have happened in our life. And sometimes, a lot of the time, we find that those pivotal moments have kind of plunged us into darkness, and they can bring up a lot of different feelings: shame, judgment, fear, all of these things. But in actual fact, it was a case of when we're courageous and vulnerable and we share those stories that are happening each and every day, but people just aren't talking about it. We kind of give permission to others to be, okay, actually, it's all right. And there are other people out there that understand what I'm going through, and that, you know, I can learn from and inspire me, because now they're here where they were back here earlier. And so the whole process is a therapeutic process, and it takes the authors through a two-step process where they write back to their younger self, sharing words of hope, wisdom, knowledge and inspiration that they've gained throughout the years that since that event, which, let's be honest, like, hindsight's a wonderful thing. And each of the authors, yourself included, wrote a note back to their younger self, telling them the words that they wished that they'd heard back then. And the idea behind the book is that once you've read it, there is space at the front to write your own message in a message box of hope and wisdom and inspiration. And then you leave it, you pay it forward to somebody else. Now, that could be friends or family. But the thing that brings us the most joy, and you know this because, you know, you were one of the first to leave it in a Tesco's self-service.
Tesco checkout.
Yeah, and you saw the joy. I mean, that in itself is just, you know, a real treat. But
leaving it on a train seat, leaving it on a cafe bar, pop it on the table at a library. You know, I mean, we were leaving them everywhere, on beach chairs, on sun
airports,
lounges.
You name it. And imagine you're having a really rubbish day and you look down and you see a book with a post-it note on it that says, yes, this book is for you. And you pick it up and you open it up, and the first thing that you see is a message from a complete stranger, just giving you hope that everything's going to be okay and that you're where you're meant to be at this moment in time. And suddenly you don't feel alone anymore. You feel like, actually, that was meant for me. You know, whether you believe in the universe, Buddha, Allah, God, whatever, it was meant for you at that moment in time. And that's what paying it forward's all about. It's spreading joy and kindness and happiness around the world. And it's so simple to do. You don't have to spend a fortune. You don't have to do massive, big, grand gestures. You just need to put your heart and soul into maybe 2 sentences and then leave a book. That's it.
And that, for me, that was an important lesson, because, you know, we talk about legacy all the time. What legacy are you creating when you know, if you're thinking about your vision, if you're thinking about the vision of your business, or you're thinking about the vision of your product, whatever it is that you want to have a life beyond you, that is selling without you being there, that is making a difference and an impact without you having to be the person that's pushing it all the time, creating that global movement and building something where there is that follow-on aspect of you buy it and then you give it. That's an important thing. And what that really taught me was that our legacy is in every drop. It's not just in what happens when we're no longer here. It's in every act that you make, whether that's smiling at someone, opening the door for them, or indeed leaving them a book that is going to change their life. And we've got many, many, many hundreds of stories since we launched the book last year of people that picked that book up and then wrote into Kezia or posted it on social media, tagging us in to let us know what that book had done. And one of the most exciting things, this is something that you can also model for your own business. And by the way, I'd love to know, like, what's your vision or mission? What are you building? Put it in the comments here so that we can see. You might be able to give you a few ideas and you know, some suggestions of how you can make it easier on yourself to reach more lives faster. Because one of the things that we did in the book was that piece that Kezia was talking about. We made one whole page at the beginning of the book that has 10 was it 10 or 11? It's 10, I think
10.
it is, boxes on it.
10.
Yeah, so it's got 10 boxes. So there's room that once you've read it, you pay it forward, and then once they're read it, they pay it forward. So there's 10 spots to write that next piece of inspiration for the next person that gets it, meaning that for every one book that is sold, 11 lives are touched.
Yeah.
And that's a really powerful thing. That's something you can consider with your product, or indeed one of them, is how can you reach more people faster, is to add a pay it forward element to that. So I mean, this is really exciting because we launched the book, and I mean, it feels like it was about 10 years ago now, but it was only last year.
Yeah.
And you know, so you had 18 contributors to the book.
Yes.
And we had a big book launch and lots of press and the radio and all kinds of things came out of that. And you're now on book 2. So what has been different about book 2? Because you were like, it was a baptism by fire, wasn't it? Learning on the job as you did the first one.
It was. I'd never done it.
That really gets to the perfection is poverty, right?
Yeah.
So it's just get out there, get the feedback, make the tweaks, act fast, fail fast, act faster. You know, it's like, you know, that there isn't any such thing as failure, really. There's feedback, but it can feel like you're failing. But if you go into it with the same energy that Kezia went into it, was for every piece of feedback, we could do something about that and make it even greater for each book that follows from that point on. So don't let this kind of, you know, perfection paralysis stop you from moving forward. You could take 2 steps forward, test it on your audience, another 2 step forward, test it on your audience, another 2 step forward, test it on your audience, and just keep growing. So what was the difference between book 1 and book 2 for you? What did you change about the process that made it easier for you with book 2?
I mean, I learned so much. And as you just said, I didn't really know what I was setting myself up for when I said, right, I'm doing this. And, you know, obviously having you helping me along the way was fantastic. One of the things that you said to me quite soon afterwards is systemize it. As soon as you finish, sit down and really brainstorm exactly what it is that you did, what worked, what didn't, you know, look at the, you know, the information that goes out, look at, you know, ways that you can streamline it. And that's what I did for the second book. You know, the authors still had the therapeutic time with me, but when they got me, they got the best of me, because I wasn't, you know, running around like a hamster on a wheel. I'd already kind of worked out exactly what needed to be done in each step. I then systemized it. So, you know, set up a Facebook group. Each week something automatically was released. I did a live. So that was my time that week. I did a live. I had people like yourself come in and help, because it is all about collaboration. And it was so much smoother, you know, and even this time I've learned so much. And so there's tweaks that I'll make for next time that I'll go, right, okay, that was a bit sticky, so let's change that. Let's move this around, you know, ask for feedback. You know, anything that you do, if you've had somebody go through it, ask for feedback. No feedback is bad feedback. You know, it's really constructive. It can help you to take the next step and the next step and the next step and adapt and change as you go. So it was phenomenal, really phenomenal to sit down and go, right, you know, when the dust settled, because I was in bed for 4 days afterwards because I was exhausted after the book launch. But, you know, you have to sit down and really reflect. And if you can write while you're doing it and actually take note every step of the way, then it just makes the whole process even easier.
Yeah. Rather than wait until we get to the end. And so what we did with that was then turn it, it was almost leaked like a mini course, wasn't it? We looked at, okay, so, you know, we've got all these chapters, and we knew exactly, you know, we needed this heading, and broke it right down, you know. So week 1, we're getting focused on, you know, whatever it was, what's the purpose of this chapter, what's it going to do. Week 2, you know, what's the title. Week 3 was the bit that I think I got involved in. I was the mentor for week 3, which was all around the positioning statement. So why would they open it up and look at your story first? What was it? And so I did that piece. And so you involved other experts that had been part of the first book as well, to bring them in and make it easier, as the kind of, we were the ancestors, the elders.
You were.
Then be the change for the people that were going through that next step. So again, when you're building a movement, is those first people that are part of that first initial movement, they're your brand ambassadors. They're the people that are going to take the weight and the pressure off of you for the next run. When you do that next run, I found that with my second challenge. So like Kezia looked from the sidelines when I ran my very first one in the January 2 years ago, gosh, and watched from the sidelines and got involved a little bit. But by the time we got to the second one, all the people that had been in part of the foundation for the first one, they were like, we're doing this again. That was amazing the first time. So they went through it again. And then all the people that were sat on the sidelines joined in and became part of that. And then when I ran the third one, all of those people plus the second lot, they all joined in. And so you're building momentum with the movement. Now I'm building a movement with brand. I mean, you wouldn't think that there could be a movement like that, but you can create a movement. It's being intentional and creational before you're transactional. And that was the thing that I really mastered, was, the transactions, the money. It will follow when you have a really clean purpose that's completely in alignment with why you're here. If you're finding that it's not easy to make money, or it's not coming in fast enough, I mean, you've either not created the right solution for the right person and you're putting it out there at the right time, or the solution is right, the timing could be great, but maybe you're not asking for the money. Maybe the positioning of it isn't right, and so that's why that brand audit, actually, we did an hour. You can find that, by the way, if you want a brand audit. If you go to How to Build a Brand website, howtobuildabrand.org, in one of the drop downs you can find it, and you can have an hour of power where we just literally get it right into, we take the business apart and look at how can you get back totally on purpose. And that's what we did at the beginning. And actually that one session was a brilliant foundation for everything else that you've built since. Because I remember you were coming onto the retreat for your coaching business, and we did basically the 7-step Kickstarter in between I'm coming out to France to do this retreat, I've arrived at France and I'm doing the retreat. Oh, by the way, going through this 7-step process, I realized I'm not building that business, so I'm here to build another business. Ta-da! Okay, fabulous. And that's what happens when you go through that process. It gets you so on point and on purpose. I'm so proud of you.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, one of the things that I will say is that the brand audit was absolutely fantastic. But as your business grows and it naturally evolves, you have to keep up with it. And, that was the thing that we did. We started off with the brand audit. Then, I came out to France. Then I came out to France again. And during that time period, the evolution of what it was that I was building, the core of it was still the same. But the actual evolution of those bits that Sammy does so well had changed, and actually having regular touch points with you made all the difference. It really did. And we're a year and a half, 2 years in, and the foundations are so strong for what it is that is out there and naturally evolving, and it just seems to get better and better and better every time. And obviously all of you ladies became Women of Contribution ambassadors. We've got another 18. You did. You've got another 18 getting ready to join you on March the 8th. And you ladies were given that title because my view was that I'd worked so closely with each and every one of you. I knew that the businesses that you were building and running were heart-centered business. It wasn't about, ripping people off. It was about actually going out into the world and serving in the best way that you could.
Yeah, Shamna's saying, I'm loving the info and we'll watch this a second time. It'll be well worth you doing that, Shamna, because you're building a movement as well. Also for women, the two of you should be talking.
Fantastic.
So I mean, there's so many things that have happened in the time of you going through this process. And one of the things I remember, and we all go through this, so I'd love you to touch on this, even if for a little while, is you weren't always supported by everyone around you because they couldn't see the vision. A bit like Disney, right? When you look at Disney's vision, I mean, Like, who would have believed that that would be possible? It hadn't been created before, and he's, you know, had this vision, and you couldn't see into his head. So, you know, it would have been easy for people not to believe that. And of course, the people around you, people that you've had around you for a long time, that didn't understand this world or what was going on in your head or what we could all see, they couldn't necessarily see. So how did you manage that? What happened?
Oh, that's a good one. To be honest with you, I think most of us go through it. You know, as entrepreneurs, we view the world in a slightly different way, and you know, it's neither right nor wrong. We just view things in a slightly different way. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was on a mission, you know, simple as, and come hell or high water, it was going to come to fruition. But it's really hard sometimes because when you build a business or a movement for that matter, when you first start, the money doesn't necessarily reflect all the hard work that you're putting in. So you know, you could still be working an 80-hour work week and the money's not necessarily reflecting all that hard work. And when you're trying to juggle that with family life and friend life and people that, you know, aren't in this world, it's you sometimes meet with a little bit of resistance. And that's why I think it's really important that you hold on to that dream and desire and that vision. It can adapt and change, and don't, you know, I wouldn't hold on to it too tightly, because sometimes we can hold on to it too tightly that we constrict it and actually we lose out on the opportunities that arise. But when you surround yourself with people that understand it, that you can talk to about it, and you accept the fact that not everybody you meet is going to go, oh yes, that's an amazing idea, that's great, you know, that's just life, unfortunately. And you know, sometimes that's hard if it's your nearest and dearest, but it's making sure that they have space and your energy. And that is sometimes, I mean, I'll put my hand up and I'm sure my husband will say, you know, that's something that I still lack on quite a bit, because I love what it is that I do, you know. I'm probably a workaholic. I absolutely adore it. But, you know, it's just making sure that you've got that balance there. Definitely.
That was a really critical, that was a pivotal moment, was seeing Andy's face at the book launch.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as entrepreneurs, quite often we're tied to our phone or to our laptop, and you know, they're not necessarily seeing what you're working on, and it's not physical for them, so they can't picture it. They don't understand. All they see is there's not as much money coming in as there used to be. I'm not seeing you as much as I used to. You, like, are you going to marry your laptop instead of me? Like, what's happening? You know, you're having this kind of virtual affair with a piece of machinery and I can't see the result of it. And then we had the book launch, and you brought your husband and both your children with you. Do you remember what Andy said to you that night?
Oh, do you know what? I can honestly say that that night was a total blur for me. You know, I remember him saying to me, you need to eat. And I remember thinking, I can't physically eat at the moment. But I do remember one thing that came out of it was my father was there with his wife. And he wrote to me afterwards and he said, listen, I still don't really understand what it is that you do, but I know what it is that, you know, you're doing is really important. And I'm behind you 100%. I don't understand it. I don't think I ever will, but I'm behind you 100%. And that is just like, wow, you know, because it is difficult. It's so difficult for people to understand, totally, you know, outside of our world. And we just kind of assume that everybody just gets it. But when you're doing a 9 to 5, you know, sometimes it's difficult to get. And when the input and the output isn't where people would expect it to be at that moment in time, it's really difficult.
Well, and I remember Andy said something very similar to you on that night. He was like, wow, I now see it. I now see the impact that you are making. And you know, this is the thing as well, that we need to consider, no matter what we're building, whether it's an online course. Oh, there's Sarah Luann Jones. Hello. Sarah is the master of online courses and has over 1,000 online courses in her business. She's absolutely phenomenal. What a great time for you to kind of fly in with your angel wings to land at this part of the conversation. So, you know, you've turned that seedling of an idea into a vision and a mission and a powerful product that turned into a big launch and a party, and then it's very physical. What's happened to your family as a result of you creating this? Because you moved out to Barcelona within months of having this idea. I remember I was like, Kez, I think you need to be on this documentary. Let me see what I can do. See if I can get you in. You then were like, oh my God, I've got to raise like £8,000 in 24 hours. It was like, right, here's the idea, let's just go for it. I think you got £6,500 within that 24 hours, and then you only needed to get that last little bit together. So that just goes to show, if you have that, like, you don't have to sit on the idea. As long as you've got the vision, the mission, and the pitch for that idea, you can start selling that idea before it's created. And in fact, what you did very intelligently was then have them be part of the creation of the idea as well. So you were like the fire starter as such. But here's what happens when us entrepreneurs are working all those hours, but then involve the family in the result of it, like the book launch, for example. So you moved out to Barcelona, and you have 2 children.
I do.
And they started modeling, Mummy, and doing really great things with their friends.
Yeah.
So tell us some things about that.
Well, Amelie was in awe. So I have a 13-year-old daughter, Amelie, and Jack, who's 10. And Amelie, both of them were in awe, to be honest. But Amelie was looking at all these phenomenal women that are stepping forward in their power and shining their light out into the world. And she just loved it. You know, it was great. There was photographers there were interviewers there. It was great. And afterwards, she went home, and she's very active on Instagram and, you know, I think it's called TikTok, Musically, and stuff like that. And she's pretty good at these things. And next thing I know, she set up Girls of Contribution. And it just blows my mind that, you know, she's thinking that way. And in actual fact, at the moment, Jack's in there. Andrew Priestley will be very pleased, but he's reading, is it the Money Chimp or the Green Book? He's reading it and he's going, can I highlight it? Oh yeah, you can highlight it. So he's going through and he's highlighting all those bits.
And he's how old? 8?
He's 10. He's 10.
10.
You know, and he's talking.
He was 8 when you started it.
Yeah, and when you step forward, you know, I don't think you realize the impact, the positive impact that it can have on those people around you as well, and the possibilities that open up for them in their mind, that anything's possible. You know, they can be an entrepreneur, they cannot be an entrepreneur, they can set up a worldwide movement, they cannot set up a worldwide movement, they can do and be whatever it is that they want to. But when you're out there modeling that for them, it's a lot easier for them to go, yeah, actually, I'd like that.
Yeah, I remember talking to Marie Diamond from The Secret last year when we were planning our summit coming up to December, and we jumped on. I speak to Marie every 3 or 4 months, and we were chatting, and she said, you know, I walked in on my daughter the other night, and she was on a Zoom call with all of her friends having a positive meeting about what we were all going to manifest. And she's like, we have no idea what our kids are doing to model the best aspects of us. We're always so worried that they're going to model the worst aspects of us. But yeah, you know, how you live, breathe, eat and sleep is the difference. It's being the change, isn't it? You're being the brand. And as a result of that, they're being the brand. So phenomenal. And I see that Flavia has just joined us. Hello, Flavia, part of the Book 2, one of my Book 2 sisters.
She is most definitely one of your Book 2 sisters. And that's the nice thing, is that, you know, you lovely ladies have stepped forward. You've spread the word, and the word is spread in the Brand Builders Club. It's spread in Awakening Giants. It's spreading all around the world. And these absolutely phenomenally courageous women are stepping forward and sharing their vulnerability. And the lovely thing is that there's so many amazing men that are supporting that, including my husband, who's, you know, sitting there going, right, go for it. I'm there, I'm supporting you, whatever it is that you need. And that in itself is changing lives. That in itself is changing lives.
Well, knowing that you've got that support behind you, I couldn't do what I do without my rock, who's commenting on here, Mr. Greg Garrity, my oh gosh, he's my champion. And if it weren't for him and James and Jen and Abby constantly packing my parachute, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing. I'd have to be at home right now, you know, looking after the house and the animals and all those things. And yet, you know, they're taking that pressure off me, knowing that every time I go out into the world, this one drop is making an enormous difference. And your family now see the result of what you're doing. And oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. I've watched it, you know, because there are lots of people that come into my universe and we have a brilliant conversation. I give them ideas and I'm like, wow, that's going to be amazing. And then it's stillborn because for whatever reason, they haven't gone out there and done something with that. And you know, and that crushes me. There's a little piece of my soul goes with that, and I'm like, oh my God, that was such a good idea. Why didn't you do something with that and run with it? And you did. And I've watched it literally from a little embryo birthed into the world. You know, I've watched it talk back to you, and you know, and it's starting to walk and wobble and fall over and then get back up and then walk and fall over and get back up. And now it's walking and talking when you're not there. And so you've got your book 2, which is about to launch. So tell us about book 2.
So again, another phenomenal women that have stepped forward, 18 gorgeous, courageous, vulnerable women that step forward. And this time it's kind of spread even further. So we have women from Australia, Canada, America, Netherlands, France, Spain, the UK. All
a lot
again,
of them are brand builders as well.
A lot of them are brand builders. Yeah.
I love it.
And they're all writing back to their younger selves. And, you know, each time somebody writes a story, they write it from a different angle. Even if they might be touching on similar storylines, they write it from a different angle. And on the 1st of March, we launch our Kindle book. So people will be able to get their hands on the Kindle. And that is just, I mean, hopefully by Monday, we should have a pre-order link so that you can order it before it's even out. And then on the 8th of March is International Women's Day, and that's when our paperback goes live so that people can buy 2 and start paying it forward immediately. Buy 10 if you want, but start paying it forward immediately and really touching even more lives. We've got a mission to impact on 1 billion lives worldwide. I'm not going to do it by myself. And, you know, I know I don't have to. You know, I've got 36 phenomenal women of contribution ambassadors now, and they're all touching people with the work that they do. And the ripple effect just carries on going.
I do, and that was one of the concepts as well, by the way, was you buy 2 books and give 1 away and keep 1 for yourself, so that you always have your inspirational resource for when you need it, because we do need it. And so then you've got the conference that's coming up as well, haven't you? So, and that's it's all happening. I tell you what, like my face is actually aching. I've smiled so much during this interview. Like my cheeks are really aching. So tell us about the conference you've got coming up. And oh, boys and girls, please, like, come and join us. I am making sure I'm in the UK. I'm going to be, by hook or by crook, I am going to be at this conference and be there to support all of our new book sisters, and also to continue supporting this amazing mission. So tell us about this incredible conference you've got coming up.
Well, Destined for Bigger Things is all about that, hearing that inner whisper that, you know, for women, that's saying, actually, there is more to life than what you've experienced up until now. Actually, you can step forward as a leader of change in whatever way that looks like. And so, you know, I've collated some phenomenal women around the world that are flying in to really help women step into their real truth and power, release some of those fears that are holding them back, you know, release some of those energy blocks that are getting in the way. And it's truly a day of nurturing, because I'm a great believer that we have to nurture. You will know that I'm always on at you saying, are you looking after yourself, Sammy? Are you looking after yourself? So
she does. She literally messages me constantly. She's like my conscious, poking me. constantly.
I am. The thing
I
is,
think that's even how you started. I think that's how we started our friendship.
you have to look after yourself. So we've designed it so it starts off with you being nurtured, and because it's International Women's Day, what better day than International Women's Day to spend with phenomenal women from around the world that have flown in specifically not only for Destined for Bigger Things but also the book launch in the evening. And I would love your guys to come and see the book launch. Women are only for the day, unfortunately, or fortunately. And in the evening, both men and women, come and see the magic that happens when you get those powerful people and their families, because it is about their families supporting them, in one room. And we've got the amazing Dr. Andrea Pennington, who's our keynote speaker. And if you haven't read any of her books, you need to check her out. She's been on Oprah Winfrey's couch more times than I've had hot dinners. And her book, especially for the ladies, The Orgasm Prescription for Women, definitely worth reading. So yes, come and listen to her. She's amazing. And also during the day, we've got a section on Paying It Forward, a chance to honor these phenomenally courageous women that have stepped forward to share their stories, and just, sharing with everybody where we're at and what our plans are for the future.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So actually, Flavia, you are watching now. Could you put the details for that in the comments here, so that everyone watching the stream and that watches it once we're, when you're watching the replay, it's important that people can get their tickets, because I know there's not that many places left. All of the book authors have launched it and said, hey, this is happening, and tickets have been being bought. So if you want your bottom to be on a seat and be inspired out of your socks, then there you go. You want to
they do. And the early bird finishes tomorrow at midnight. So if you want to have a day of nurture, of mind, body and soul, and beautiful 3-course meal in a gorgeous surroundings, meditation to start, and the most phenomenal speakers, then tomorrow is the latest, really. Or alternatively, pay full price, which is fine either way.
Yeah, and it's it's at the Beaumont estate, I believe, isn't it?
It is. It's at the Beaumont.
That's a very dear place. That's a dear place to my heart, because I used to live on that road of the Beaumont estate in Old Windsor, right. And that used to be my gym. I used to go swimming into the gym every day at that hotel. And it was there that I had so many ideas about what the future could look like, and I never implemented them. It took me until I almost had a heart attack, walked away from my whole company and moved to France to be in the middle of nowhere with no access to anything, 1 meg internet. It took that for me to realize all of those things, all those downloads I was getting while I was swimming or at the gym. I mean, I actually put them into action. So it's I don't know that you realize how impactful that's going to be on me, to be at that location for this event, for it to be the place of the very seedlings of creation. That's where it started. So what a beautiful loop that's going to close for me, because all I felt when I was going there previously was my heart was hurting, I was getting pains in my chest, and things weren't going the way I felt. Hang on, is this it? I'm sure I'm here for more than this.
Destined for bigger things.
Come back and be in that place and go, oh my God, that really is a holy fuckadoodles moment, to be back there and going, look what's been achieved since the last time I was there. So thank you for bringing that full circle for me. Flavia has put the link there. Laurie, your story is so inspiring. Can't wait to start traveling abroad again. Yes. And actually, Kezia, you're going to be running a book tour in LA, I believe. You're doing a Destined for Bigger Things conference, possibly in LA?
Possibly. We're not necessarily the book tour as such, but obviously heavily focused on the book, because why wouldn't we? It's amazing, and it will have only been out 6 months by then. Ideally, I've put it out there that Destined for Bigger Things will go to LA in September. And when you put it out there and there's enough people that know about it, and you can start to have those conversations, that's when the magic happens. And so yes, it's out there, and conversations are happening as we speak. So watch this space, as they say.
I just had a blinding idea, because we're doing a think tank tour all across the States. when we come out. So we're going to be in the States from, I think it's the first weekend in July. We have our Brand Builders Training Day in Holland, and then we fly straight out to Savannah. So we're then doing think tanks twice a day for local people to come to, 20 per think tank in each of the areas. And so we're going to be in Savannah, Atlanta. I think we've got 2 sets we're doing in Atlanta. Tallahassee. So our Tallahassee lassies, I know that Laurie is one of those. Tallahassee, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Nashville, Knoxville. There's various
all the
different
other
places
bills
that we're going. Then we fly over to LA. So then we do LA, San Diego, Central Valley, Sacramento, Reno, Vegas, may do Texas, not quite sure, San Francisco, Chicago. So we've got like a whole tour planned out. How awesome would that be if we could, we were going to do those for like $25 or something. If we did them for a little bit more money, we could bring a whole load of books, and everybody that books a place on it could go walk away with one of your books. So let's talk about how we could possibly manage that process, because we'd need to take a whole suitcase over that would just be filled with books. So let's talk about how we could do that, or how maybe we could get the books ordered directly to America, and then we wouldn't have to worry about that. But just think about, like, if we've got 40 people per day, and we're going to be in on average 20 locations across America, that's a significant amount of books.
It makes a huge difference.
Another way of like building the movement. You know, like how can I get this movement out in front of as many people as possible? And then the next question, because the how will probably fly your brain, and the next question is, how can I turn those 3 letters into who? Who can help me get that global movement out there? And, you know, and I've got that coming up. There are people all around us that have access to, you know, even if it's just a book club once a week, or, you know, a group of women meeting for coffee once a month, or, you know, just think about your network and who you're connecting with already, and what do you do locally. Flavia, for example, could you put the price up on a ticket to come to one of your yes groups where you have around 30 to 40 entrepreneurs joining you in that session? You know, could you make it something that you give to every single person as a result of them signing up to that? Imagine what would happen as a result of that. Laurie, you may want to talk to Candy Parker about having the books here. I'm
already talking to Candy. I've already talked to Candy. She's been phenomenal. She's helped us on the first book, and without her, you know, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. So Candy is amazing. Tasha
Chen, she's got a whole network of people. I think it'd be a great thing to now start focusing on. Who are the leaders that are, you know, not just the leaders, because each of us is a leader. You know, even by getting on a train and leaving the book next year, you've just led someone's life. You've been an impact on someone's life as a result of all you've done is buy a book, write a little message, put a sticky note on the top of it. And that's the important thing. That was part of the campaign that I realized would be so powerful. I did it. I was like, yes, this is working really well. Let's make sure that everybody does this. It's that sticky note, because otherwise people think, oh, someone's left a book there, and they don't look at it. You have to have that post-it note on it that says, yes, this is for you. Pick it up and pick a page, and, you know, and that's the page that's for you. I remember being on the way back from our book launch, and I'd only managed to read about half of the stories in the book before I came to the book launch. So there I am with my Kindle reading, because we've got like 4 hours in the car from London up to Manchester on the way back the next day. And as I'm reading it, I picked up Anya Jeffrey's story, and I'm reading it, and Greg's driving, and I'm like, fucking hell, what? And then oh my God, like he's like, what? I was like, you've got to read this, I'm not sharing it with you. And like, I've been hanging around Anya. I mean, I've got goosebumps. Look, I've got goosebumps everywhere. I've been around most of the women in these books for a long time. And yet I've learned a whole new aspect of them that I didn't even know existed. And that was like, I've got so much more respect. These are people that I've respected for a long time anyway,
Yeah.
but my respectometer just went like that, because, you know, we all go through stuff, yet we put the happy face on. This is social media. Everything is perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't realize what's come before that to be stood in that position.
And it's not something that you should be ashamed of or fear sharing, but actually writing those first words. And I know for many of the authors, writing those first words and actually just going through that memory again can, you know, be quite a traumatic thing. But they all did it. You all did it because you knew the end result would be that somebody's life would be touched. And I remember sitting on a train coming back. I think it might have even been one of your events. I was coming back to Barcelona, so I was catching a train back to Heathrow, and I got on the train and this lady sat next to me, and originally another lady had sat there and then got up, and I thought, oh, that's odd, okay, fair enough. And this lady got on literally minutes before the door closed, and she sat beside me. And we just started talking. She was from Asia and she'd come over for a 3-week holiday. And she was asking what it was that I did. And at the time, I'd given away all my books. And so I just told her about the Pay It Forward. And I just touched on one story, and it was Debbie Moore's. And I said, you know, for example, Debbie Moore and the fact that her partner at the time had been living a double life. And this woman just burst into tears beside me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And she said, and I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying it. And she said, that's the reason I'm here. My dad announced 3 weeks ago that he'd been living a double life, and I had a brother that I didn't even know about in China. And I was just like beside me, and she was just like, I've got to get this book for my mum. My mum's beside herself because she feels a fool and that this doesn't happen to anybody else. And I was almost beside myself. And this woman was just crying and crying, and she was just like, thank you. And I gave her one of my business cards, and she wrote to me, and she was just, when she got back, and she just said, thank you so much. And that was just one small 2-3 minute conversation on a train.
And you were guided to pick out of the 18 stories in that book, you were guided to pick the one that needed to be delivered there. I mean, wow. And that's the power of creating that, is that, you know, not only is that story is now a verbal confirmation that there are other people out there, they can read it, it's in black and white. This is what happened. And every story in the book is different. So it touches on a different aspect, whether it's business, personal. To be fair, business is personal, and usually the business suffers because of, we get business coaches and then they end up working on us personally because it's that's stopping our business from growing many times. But you know, the fact that it's had that impact is just phenomenal. And wow, I'm so honored to be a part of this movement and to be just like, you're one of my best friends, you're my sister, and it all came from a challenge. And you know, to me, it blows my mind when I'm journaling, and I'm so grateful and blessed for all the things that are happening. And when I look right back to it, and I'm talking a lot about challenges at the moment, when I look back to it, some of my greatest friends now are people that went through one of those first challenges, and things have just blossomed from that. If you haven't run a challenge yet, for those of you in the Brand Builders Club, we did how to create a kick-ass challenge that consistently converts a couple of weeks ago. Get back into the group, go through that, watch the 90-minute masterclass I did with it, because, you know, there's a lot of things that come out of there from serving. And that everything that's happening is coming as a result of serving. And it's in those moments, isn't it, when we go, oh yeah, but the money isn't following the service. The sales aren't always following the serving part straight away. But then you look at Mother Teresa, for example, was one of the wealthiest women on the planet when she died. You know, it's like money follows purpose. That profit follows purpose. The challenge is, if you're focused on the profit, trying to get the purpose to follow the profit, it doesn't happen that way.
No, it definitely doesn't. And that's what I think I built my first business on. Although I wanted to serve, I kind of, you know, you had this idea that you'd be an entrepreneur, and the idea was so good that you'd be a multi-billionaire by this time next year, you know, a bit of only fools and horses. And you can't just live on that aim alone. You burn out, you wind down, and actually you're out of alignment. So it really does follow purpose first, definitely.
Yeah, purpose before profit. And also, I would go so far as to say that every successful business I know, certainly now on the planet, and every successful business, when I think about it, that has ever been a success, they have always created a movement
Mm,
out of the idea.
mm,
So if it's never just been a book, it's never just been Disneyland, it's never just been selling TVs, it's never just been selling a laptop. It was always selling the vision is
yeah.
what the real movement makers do. And even if that movement your movement starts with one person following it, right? You don't have to
You don't need to.
measure your movement against everybody else's movement. Your movement could be one person. Your movement could be 100 people. I had a great meeting with somebody yesterday, and we were chatting about this movement that they're creating. And I said, well, this is an opportunity for you to really think about, are you the start of the movement? Is the movement moving through you, or
Mm,
is it started by you?
yeah.
And that's a question that you need to ask yourself. My movement is I've started it, and now it's through me. And that's because I'm very, very specific about the people that come into the Brand
Mm,
Builders Club. No one gets into the Brand Builders Club unless you are on a mission and have the capacity to reach at least 8,000 lives over the next 12 months.
mm,
I mean, that can be delivered in one really awesome video with our training.
mm.
But if somebody's just joining it because I want more money, I want more customers, I want more, like, no, that's not the
No.
right person. And I turn a lot of people away because that's their mission. They're focused on
Mm,
profit rather than purpose. For me, it's like I can't reach the 8 million lives that I want to serve this year if I work with people that say they're going to do something and then don't do it. I want to work with people that follow through, that really do make the difference. So I was very intentional in my creational time about how I would be the creator of it, but then it would move through me.
mm,
So when I do the hours of power and when I do the 7-step Kickstarter coaching calls, for me, it's moving through me. The message is coming to me for you. You are then going out there and making this impact. Because like you said, Kezia, I don't want to do this alone. And I'm not going to do it on my own. It's not the best way. And for me, it's not the right way. So just be intentional with that. Is the movement you're creating, is it you? Is it all about you? Or is it moving through you to reach lives that they're going to go and do this, whatever the work is? Are you going to be training the trainer? Are you creating, a franchise? Are you building a movement that you have a board, like Kezia has a board, and that board are the sounding board? I can't always be at those meetings, but Kezia knows that she can reach out to me at any point, drop me a message, and even if I haven't got the time to type it, I'll speak it and I'll say, right, here's what I think about that. And so, just whatever you do, just make sure you have your counsel.
Yeah.
That you have your counsel around you as you're building that, and that comes back down to the 5 people, really. They say that when we die, that you've only really got 5 people you can count on throughout your whole life. You need that in your business as well. So have 5 people for your life and have 5 people around you minimum for your business that can really be that sounding board for you as you grow. It's no fun doing it alone.
No.
The hard way is inevitable. It's lonely. And you've only got your own guidance, which means that your ideas will be stillborn. We've had people that have joined the Brand Builders Club after years of going through other people's things, how to create a course, how to make money online, how to write a book, and it never works. It never works because the foundation wasn't right, and you really got that foundation in place, and it's been your springboard. Now and then there's been a few times where you've jumped off the cliff and grown your wings on the way down, but that's because you believed in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And even now, I mean, part of me was just like, what was I thinking, putting on an international conference by myself. And then it's like, actually, I'm not doing it by myself. And,
No.
what was I thinking doing that, a book launch and a membership community all on the same day? And then I just think, do you know what? I've taken the leap and the wings will definitely be there. And if
Yeah,
not, I know some
they already are.
phenomenal women that are going to catch me on the way down. So,
Oh yeah,
I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, and so's the world. And
amazing.
I think sometimes when we restrict ourselves from truly stepping into the world, that's ego speaking. That's not us. And the world needs us to get out, and move the ego aside and do what we've been put on this planet to do. And
Yeah,
I was lucky that I knew without a shadow of a doubt that this was what I was put on the planet to do. But I had to go through a journey to get there. So
yeah. And the
it's been
journey
a fun.
continues.
It does. It does. And will never end. I'm sure it'll never end. But that's the
Well, what
joy
would
of
it be
building.
without surprises?
That's the joy of building a legacy. I often
Yeah,
think of somebody like, Louise Hay. Louise Hay's legacy will go on for years. She didn't start that until she was in her 50s. And look at the legacy that she's left. And, we all have that opportunity. It doesn't
yeah.
necessarily need to be a Hay house, but we all have that opportunity. We just need to believe and take that first step.
What a great thing to finish on. And thank you. Shamina says, I'm honoured to be in the Brand Builders Club, otherwise known as BBC.
BBC.
And I'm honoured that you're part of that. We're all on our individual journeys. And why go alone?
Yeah.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, we go together.
Yeah.
So thank you, Kezia, for
No,
making the
thank
time for us
you.
today. I can't wait for the conference.
Keep it
Flavia,
going.
if you could just pop that link in again, just for people that might have got lost in the comments. We have other gorgeous people that have come and joined us since we started the call earlier. So if you could pop that link there again, make sure you get your early bird ticket, which it finishes tomorrow. And,
Yes.
it will be worth flying for. Every time I fly, I did think to myself a couple of weeks ago, I'd only been home I think I was home for about 5
Week.
days
Yeah.
before I needed to fly off again. And I was thinking, do I fly to Florida? I know that, I'm going out. And yeah, I said that I'm going to speak at Tasha's event. And if I say I'm going to be somewhere, I will be there. It didn't stop the thoughts of, I really could do with some more time at home, and I miss my husband, I miss the kids, I miss the animals, and I want to be there. But there was something that was pulling me that was saying, you have to be there, Sammy. You have to, this is non-negotiable. You are meant to be at that event. And the people that I met at Tasha's event are just the most extraordinary, heart-centered, purpose-driven movement makers who really I was genuinely topped up. I was filled up. Like, the inspiration in that room was amazing. And and I was absolutely meant to be there, and you're absolutely meant to be at this event. Now, is it for women only? Can men go as well? Is it
So,
women of contribution only?
so the day is
Fascinating.
just for women, and actually, we've got the lovely Tasha flying all the way from the States for the
Yay!
event, so she's going to be there. So it's
Awesome.
going to be a lovely family reunion for that the
Yeah,
BBC.
the
So
brand builders.
yeah, exactly. So the day is just for women, but guys, come along with it. Come along with your
Guys can come
women.
in the evening
The
though, can't
guys can
they?
come in the evening. There's a brilliant swimming pool. I'm pretty sure there's even a golf course. If you're into
There
golf,
is. There's
then
golf course, there's tennis courts, there's everything at the Beaumont Estate. They've got it
exactly.
all.
And it's a
Beautiful
beautiful.
grounds. And
It
in
is.
March, the weather will start to be a bit warmer as well.
It should. So during the day is ladies only, and during the evening, men come
Oh, Greg's saying
along.
boo.
Well,
you
there's
you
nothing
can
to
you
stop
can
him
chill out
coming.
in all the facilities for the day,
Yeah,
baby, and then we'll meet in the evening and we'll get glammed up in our black tie and
it
cocktail
is.
dresses,
It's
and
lovely, dressed
we'll
up.
have fun in the evening.
And we got the candles in the chapel, and so it's going to be a really special. And there's book signing, so you'll be able to see not just 18 women, but both groups of ladies, both
Yeah,
book one and
all of
book.
us.
You can get your book signed. I mean, what better, to have a signed copy from all these
And that's very
phenomenal
rare that
women.
we'll all be together in one place.
Exactly, exactly. And come and listen to Dr. Andrea Pennington as well. So I'm just really, really excited. And I know without a shadow of the doubt, those women that hear that calling, that go, do you know what? I am destined for bigger things. It is my turn. It is my turn right now. Even though I don't know
Yeah,
what that looks like, they will be there. And they will
yeah.
meet the most phenomenal women like yourself and the other book sisters and amazing women that will support them
And
on their
you,
journey. And me. And
you.
me. So you know, I just think actually being able to put your hands around somebody and give them a great big hug and actually have that human connection for a whole
Yeah,
day is
yeah.
just mind blowing. And it's an interactive day. You know, when you walk out at the end of the day, you're going to feel amazing. Micro moments of
Awesome.
nurture all throughout the day.
I'm super excited. And over the next couple of weeks, in the lead up to this event, I'm going to be interviewing some of the other book sisters. So I'm very excited about that. Look out for what's coming because they all have amazing businesses.
Mm,
And what better way for you to learn from the mistakes they've made, from the
yeah,
learnings, from the light bulbs, from all the things that they've gone through. What better way than for you to learn it before you go through it? To stop you having to make that mistake or making it easier for you to know what to do if you have already gone through it. So look out because next week I'll be interviewing another amazing woman of contribution, talking to the founder of this global movement today, Kezia Luckett.
thank you.
I adore you. Like
Right
you're
back at
just
you.
amazing. Your mission is so in alignment with mine, and I love everything you're doing, and will continue to wholeheartedly to support whatever you do so that we reach those 1 billion
Thank you.
lives that was that initial idea. I'm so proud of you,
Thank you, my
and I'll see
darling.
you in a few weeks.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Thank you so much. And for you watching this, I hope that you had your socks inspired off by, by this amazing little nuggets and all the things like saying, Kez, can we just kind of like open up your head and dip in and get some of that treasure so that it helps us to move forward. So it's been a pleasure to be with you, to work with you, to continue this journey with you. And I look forward to seeing those of you in the Brand Builders Club. I'll see you in the group. And those of you that aren't, then I hope that one day I will see you in that group because that's where the real movements are made. So take care. Sending you lots of love and I will see you very soon. Mwah.
Bye bye.